Welcome back to ChatterBeans, the podcast where every conversation starts with a coffee and ends with a story worth sharing. This week, I'm joined by the incredible Darrian, a fitness instructor, diversity consultant, and host of the Switching the Code podcast. Darrian shares his journey from corporate project management to finding purpose in fitness, opening up about his mental health challenges, the power of therapy, and what it really means to create inclusive spaces for everyone. We dive into his HYROX experiences, his passion for community, and his belief in leading with authenticity. So grab your coffee and let's get into it.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. It's great to meet you. And so I think you reached out, didn't you? Or we met via the kind of Rocks Proud group.
We
so
did.
Tell me about you and your life and like where you are in the world and what you do and things like that. Wherever you want to start.
Cool. So we're doing this virtually because I'm in Birmingham and I'm not going to lie, I didn't fancy the train and then the tube after teaching classes this morning and then do my own workout. And it's also 27 degrees today. So as much as I'm happy to be a part of this, I didn't fancy the commute. So that's why I'm coming to you virtually from the sunny Midlands.
I love it. I love it. And what do you do day to day? So you talked about working out, teaching classes. Is that your thing?
So it's a relatively new thing. So my background is transformation. So I have worked in project management, mainly in financial services for the last 10 years.
Interesting.
So left uni, did a grad program, lived in London, lived in Clapham before it was as gay as it is now. Although I do remember moving to Clapham, going for a run around Clapham Common, coming home and my housemate being like, you do realise what happens after dark in Clapham Common, right? And I was like,
exactly.
What? Very naive. And also I was still in the process of coming out at that point. So yeah, definitely not me. So did my grad job and then I started to work remotely. And I was like, hang on, I'm paying like over £1,000 a month to sit in this flat in London. I'm going home.
Yeah.
So moved back and got a job with the same company in Birmingham. Ended up going off sick from that job. I was in it for about 15 months and was essentially bullied at the company by my then manager.
Wow.
So I went off sick with stress, anxiety and depression. And then as part of like going to therapy and stuff was like, oh, I'm getting out of this. So that's when I moved into financial services. So started working for a bank as the department manager for ops improvement. And then, worked my way up to running a global transformation division that I built from the ground up. But it was actually really disappointing how it happened. I was brought in to build this brand new division. It was supposed to be my step into a managing director role. And then I was told, okay, come across at the level you are because it doesn't exist yet. And then once you've created it, you'll be the head of it. And I was like, amazing. So 12 months in, I'd created this global team. We'd offset 2 million in costs that would have gone to external companies. And I got made redundant.
Oh, how was that? Like, how is that, given everything that you said you'd gone through with therapy and stuff like that? How did that hit you?
It definitely brought up a lot of old demons. And I'm quite fortunate that I'd already gone back to therapy as a bit of an MOT to kind of sharpen the toolkit that I had to cope with that. So it was just coincidental that I'd been back in therapy for about a year. And I've got a solid network around me. And as you know, I have my own podcast as well. And Switching Code, if anyone wants to listen to it. And my co-host also worked for the same company.
I see.
So I got to voice a lot of the intrusive thoughts that were happening during that time, because it's almost like that inner saboteur that sits in your brain has found the evidence it needed that you weren't good. Like, you've been found out, you weren't good enough. The reason that people aren't knocking down your door to give you another job is because it was all just a fluke. And having someone like, for me, my co-host, who she's a very kind and caring person, but doesn't mince her words.
I
So
see.
I called her up when I was like feeling particularly low. I think it was a few months into sort of being unemployed. And I kind of lived my best life and pretended it wasn't happening for a few months. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, actually, this is really tough. And I voiced all of those things to her, and she was like, well, that's like BS, right? Like, even surely you don't believe that as you're saying it out loud. And I was like, well, it kind of is what I'm thinking. And she was like, well,
Yeah.
let's just look at the evidence. Like, look at the career you've had and what you've done and the impact you've made. And okay, you tell me now, if I was saying the same thing to you, would you tell me that it was all a fluke and I'm
Yeah.
not as skilled? And I was like, well, no. She's like, so why are you so hard on yourself?
But it's easier said than done, isn't it? And
Yes.
so interesting. I never knew this about you. So I have a very similar background. I've done government digital business transformation my whole career. And for the last 3.5 years, I've been working for myself as an independent contractor consultant. But there's always that fear of like, contracts coming up for renewal. Will I get extended? Do I believe in myself? What if I get found out that actually I know nothing? And I say it to my husband all the time. I'm like, oh, what if I don't get another contract? He's like, the evidence speaks for itself. And so I
That's the thing.
completely resonate with you.
And that's so cool because, yeah, this is our first proper conversation for those listening.
Yeah.
So very coincidental. I think for me, what's been challenging is that I was made redundant in what recruiters are saying is one of the worst job markets of recent times.
Yeah.
I've had some quite senior people for some large recruitment firms who I know, uh, had some just honest chats with them, and they've said like, look, at the minute, this is currently worse than the previous recessions we've had in terms of job market.
Mm.
And it's kind of reassuring when they say it's nothing to do with your skill. It's, you are very employable and very talented and very experienced. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that you've got people who are sort of chief transformation officer level doing the senior roles. So then they're drop and everyone's looking at
Everyone's
the
dropping.
level 2 levels below.
Totally.
And there's just been mass redundancies at a lot of large firms. So the market is saturated at the minute.
Yeah.
But I don't deal well with sort of spare time. So,
So how have you been filling it?
so I'm contracting still. I've got a part-time contract with a government body, but it's a couple of days a week. So last year I was like, do you know what? I've been moaning about group fitness at my local gym for years, especially working in London and being able to go to Barry's, Soul Cycle, and then come to the Midlands and there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I've moaned about it for ages, and the GM of my gym was just like, well, why don't you get qualified and you do it then? And I was like, all right, bet. So I went, I got qualified, and a job came up, and she was like, right, you got your level 2, right? And I went, yeah. You doing your level 3? Yeah. Do you want a job? Yeah, go on then.
Amazing. So how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it 2.5 months.
Nice. Are you enjoying it?
Really enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bit of me. I'm really enjoying the fact that I've kind of built attendance at the group fitness classes back up.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to teach is they call it ride, but spin, because you get all types of people at it. I can make my own playlists, I can make my own workouts and just really make it my own.
Yeah. So this is
So
something
really
you might not
enjoyable.
know. I completely agree. So you might not know this about me. I'm also a group fitness instructor and PT.
I
So
did hear that
you
on one of
did,
your
yeah.
previous episodes.
So I've been coaching at Third Space. I don't know if you know it, but
I
spin
do.
was my thing for the last kind of 3 years. I've taken a bit of a break over the summer, but I'm already itching to go back because it's that thing, isn't it? Creating your own playlist is so different to the day job. You get to connect with all sorts of people, and I think, yeah, it takes an interesting person, I think, to have a sort of day job that you've been talking about with that. It's quite serious. You're in a senior position, but then to go and do something like this that you clearly love.
So have you been through a body journey of your own or like fitness journey? What's that look like for you over your kind of lifetime, I suppose?
So, definitely been through a body journey myself. So, with high school, I was a bit overweight. I when I was younger, I really enjoyed sports. So I used to do karate, I used to swim, and then as I moved into secondary school, that kind of love started to fall away. And I think it was partly to do with like there was a lot of bullying and stuff at school, and then I didn't want to do these activities anymore, and I didn't want to get involved at school. So fell away, and I will say, love my mom. My mom doesn't know what a portion size is to save her life. So, like, I didn't know until I like really got back into my fitness bag that like a packet of microwave rice is supposed to feed 2 people.
Same. I'm the same.
So when you're not active and you're eating for 2,
Yeah.
it does mean that you gain some weight. So I gained a lot of weight in high school. I think it was when I hit sort of 15, 16 that I was like, I don't like this. I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
Um, Lost all the weight, went to uni, gained all the weight.
Yeah.
We're still semi-active, but just, drinking, late night food, Domino's when you're hungover. And I remember I got back, I did a year abroad in the French Alps as part of my course. And I got back and I just saw photos of myself like on the nights out we did when I first got back. And I was like, oh, I don't like what I see. But I never knew how to lose weight healthily.
Mm.
So what I ended up doing was I would sort of live on 1,200 calories a day, but then go and burn between 12 to 1,500 off at the gym. And if I was, say, going out drinking that night, I would eat. I remember I used to eat like the corn chicken fillets, which are about 80 calories each. I used to have 3 of those with iceberg lettuce and hot sauce, and that
My
would be
God.
my dinner.
Wow.
So I lost a lot of weight quite quickly. But it all just came back when, you start actually eating properly, and
Mm.
it was a really unhealthy way to do it. So over the years, I've kind of educated myself and broke some of those toxic behaviors around food. My relationship with food isn't great still,
Okay.
but the volume of training I'm doing at the minute, I am eating the most that I've ever eaten in my life, and I'm still losing weight.
Isn't it such a good feeling?
Well, the goal isn't to lose weight, actually.
No.
So and I'm always like I'm constantly hungry,
Yeah.
but it's been a real eye opener for me to be like, oh, okay, I'm eating all of this food, and actually, the world hasn't ended.
Exactly. Yeah. So for that relationship with food and the journey you've been on, like, have you had support with that? How do you deal with it? I suppose, like, have you been on your own with it?
It's definitely been something that I've done quite solo.
Mm.
The support, when I was really restrictive before, I would get told that I was too obsessive. And with sort of me now moving into more of a sports space, like I've been really focused on my distance running. I got into HYROX last year as well. Turning down like going out drinking, going out food and certain things, you do still get comments because I definitely think the British culture isn't necessarily a healthy one.
I agree.
And I think in London it is marginally better because there's just so much more being offered in terms of socializing around fitness. So it's if people want to socialize in Birmingham, it's usually we're going out to eat or we're going out to drink. It's been great to see more running clubs popping up over the last couple of years. A friend of mine from my gym started one about 3 years ago called Running Buddies. And that was, we'd both been sat in the gym together and we'd been saying there's just nothing like for people who just want to work out, maybe grab a drink after, grab a cake after, whatever it is.
Mm.
So my friend Grace started it. It's still going strong, which is awesome.
Nice.
And then Jake Williamson started BTND, which I'm an ambassador for as well. So,
Are you? Okay. Okay.
and that's how I know G as well.
Yes, there we are.
So
That's
it's
how it
all
all links
connected.
together. There we go. Tell me about HYROX. Like, how did you find it, and what was the main goal when you first did when you did your HYROX?
So had no clue what it was. I only went to BTND because other people knew who Jake was. Mainly girls who wanted to go and see him in real life.
Yes.
So I just rocked up. They were like, oh, it's this gay sports guy. Like, he's running a run club in Birmingham. Here's the TikTok about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, it looks all right. I've got nothing on that night. I'll come.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. It was such a warm welcome from the people that he did have as the sort of run leads at the time. And then it kind of went from there, learning what HYROX was because of Jake. And then one of my really good friends dropped me a message and said, would you ever do one? And I was like, yeah, why not? Give it a go. Trained myself for it. Literally at home, treadmill, dumbbells,
Really?
did all of that. And then unfortunately, my doubles partner had to pull out the week before because
No.
she needed emergency surgery.
Okay.
So someone from BTND stepped in, and with a week's notice, we did one sim and then did our first doubles in Birmingham.
How was it?
Grueling.
Honestly.
Great when we finished it and someone handed me a 2-pint of beer.
Perfect.
Loved that. There's a photo somewhere that I can send to you, and it's Beth, who, bless her, I think she's like 5'2". She was my partner.
Yeah.
And the 2-pinter of beer is the size of her head. It was great. I finished that in probably about 2 minutes.
Love it.
Learned a lot about myself. I thought I was a great doubles partner. Beth has a different view of that.
Why?
Well, I've realised, I know this about myself anyway, I don't always word things the best.
Right.
And I remember being on the final kilometre before the wall balls and looking over at Beth and going, can you go any faster? And what I meant was, do you have the energy to speed up a bit?
Yes. Yeah.
But it came out as, can you go any faster? And the look she gave me, I realised like what had come out my mouth. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I just mean like, how are you energy wise? Like, have you got a bit in the tank?
Yeah.
Can we pick it up? Do you need to stay at this pace? But when you've been
Love that.
like, you're 7 stations and 7 kilometers down, my brain wasn't necessarily fully engaged.
Yes. It's like, yeah, it's one of the hardest things that I've done. I've done it a few times, and I did it with Guillaume actually in Cardiff. That was the hardest by far, and it was my first doubles. But I had him there to support me, and it is all about the partner. So, yeah, I couldn't have done it without him.
He's a fantastic cheerleader as well.
Yeah, he really is.
Then my next one after Birmingham was Manchester. And I entered that with 24 hours notice. Someone was just like, got a ticket. Does anyone want it? And I was like, oh, maybe. I've been training for a half, not for HYROX.
Yeah.
But I've got the speed in terms of my running. So why don't I give it a go? And then I was like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. And then literally the Friday evening, the race was on Saturday morning. I just went, yeah, go on, I'll do it. So I went there on my own, no support, but Guillaume was actually one of the judges. So
Yeah.
he got a little video of me. He was screaming my name as I was going around, and it really does give you a boost when people are there cheering you on. And there was a few people from the wider BTND network who were there and spotted that I was there. So yeah, it was quite nice.
I love that. I think there is something special about doing it on your own, going somewhere completely on your own. Like it feels quite scary in a way, because it's kind of like you against everyone. I remember I was in Madrid, and it was like I went on my own, so nervous, seeing all these big guys, and like, oh God, I'm not, I don't have that body or whatever. I mean, how is that, competing HYROX and getting into fitness now, teaching classes? Like, what's it done for you personally? So you had your knockback, I guess, in terms of work and the redundancy, and kind of probably quite a low moment, I imagine. Like, to now this, like, completely different path in life, probably something you didn't imagine you'd be doing maybe a few years ago. It's like, how are you feeling now?
It's definitely been a change. As I say, I'm still contracting, so I've still got sort of one foot in the corporate camp. It's been an interesting couple of years to decouple myself from my career. It was quite interesting. A friend from the US was visiting sort of beginning of last year, and we went for a drink. And he was in London, went for a drink together, and he was saying, you always, from when we'd met the previous year while we were in Puerto Vallarta, and he said, one of the first things I noticed about you is you kind of led with what you do. And that was a big part of your identity. Um, Very sort of career hungry, career minded. And he said, but you're much more than that. And it really struck a chord with me because I was like, well, yeah, because after being made redundant, I had like loads of weddings and hen do's abroad and all of that. So I'm meeting all of these people that I've not met before. And it is one of the first questions we ask people, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
I turned it into a bit of a joke and was just like, I'm on the dole, I'm unemployed. Because I enjoy it's so bad. I enjoyed watching them like cringe inside and be like, oh, sorry.
It is interesting though, isn't it? Like, why do we lead with that question? And then why do we respond with that answer? I was exactly the same for years about, I had always this ambition to have director in my title by the time I was 30. And I got there, I got to an assistant director of change.
I had the
After that,
exact same and got
yeah.
the same.
Don't know why. I was like, had it always these career paths. Like by the 30, I'm going to have director, and then I'll be this, and then I'll be a chief exec of like a local council, whatever. Like it hasn't happened, and I'm so glad. And now I don't care about the title. I want to be paid for the work I'm doing, and I don't lead with it. It's kind of like it is for me my Monday to Friday, but it doesn't feel like it. Everything else, like the podcast, the fitness, the working on ourselves, like that's almost come to the forefront. I don't know if you feel the same. Yeah.
And the parallels are quite interesting when you're talking about yours as well, because I had the
Yeah.
same. I was like, right, by the time I'm 30, I want to be in a head of role. I want to be earning this much money. I want to be doing this. And then it was, right, next up, I want to be chief operating officer. That'll be my next step. And working with the last COO I worked with, phenomenal woman, great as a leader, but seeing what she would have to do. And, she'd find out Friday evening she's flying to India for 2 weeks on the Sunday. And I was like, I don't want that.
No, exactly.
Actually, and I remember having a conversation with her because we were talking sort of career goals when I first moved to work and for her. And I was like, I want your job. And as
Yeah.
the year I worked for her sort of progressed, so I'm not doing that. It's not for me. No, I'm very happy where I am.
Yeah.
Pay me
Good.
a little bit more, give me the title that I deserve,
Yeah.
and I'm good.
Exactly.
Post that, as you say, the fitness side of things. I've always been the type of leader who coaches and develops people and brings people up. So that kind of skill set, moving it into a fitness space, is quite transferable, actually.
Completely. I just want to mention this because I had a career coach for a long time, and one of the questions was, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to be able to lead people." And she made this really good analogy. She was like, "You are a leader, whether it's you leading big transformation for a government organization or you're leading people in a fitness class. You're going to be a leader leading people of change. It just might look slightly different to what my career trajectory I thought I was having, in the future." And yeah, so I completely resonate. I'm just so glad we're having this conversation. Yeah.
And it's also interesting because I've always been told that I'm a leader, even from school. It's why I used to get in trouble so much because I'd apparently be disruptive.
Say, yeah.
And they're like, well, people will follow you. And I'm like, well, that's their problem. I didn't ask them to.
I love it.
But then I think it's just all about learning about yourself, right? So when I left that company where, as I say, it was a really toxic environment, I learned a lot about myself through therapy. And then I knew that I didn't want anyone junior than me experiencing what I'd experienced because there was a lot of comments on like my sexuality, the way I spoke, the way I dressed. This person just hated everything about me.
Yeah.
So when I joined my next organization, I immediately got involved in their LGBT network. I ended up leading it a couple of years later. I used to run the corporate sponsorship for Birmingham Pride from a people aspect and transformed it into one of the biggest events sponsored globally. It's now led to the contracting that I'm doing now. So I'm still heavily using my transformation skills, but I'm actually consulting as a diversity and inclusion consultant.
That's amazing.
So again, turning one of those passions into something that pays the bills. Blue sky, but making the world better, but making it easier for people to be themselves in a corporate environment. And as I say, as a leader, I was always conscious of the leaders that came before me would always tell me about their struggles, and you're going to struggle in this way because I struggled in this way. And I was like, well, hang on. If I'm still struggling in the way that you did, what have you done?
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
why is this still a known thing?
Yeah.
So then I would be the person who'd be like, no, we're not doing that. We're changing this. We're changing that. Had some amazing successes with that. And as I say, it's now led to a contracting opportunity.
That's amazing.
But I feel the same about sport. And that's why I think Rock's Proud is great. What G's set up is awesome. What Jake's doing, again, for LGBT inclusion in not only HYROX, but the fact that he's, a Gymshark sponsored athlete as well. He's quite visible. I think that's awesome. I still think it needs more. It needs more of us to just be authentically ourselves. And it's interesting. You made a comment when we were talking about HYROX, when you said about bodies, and everyone thinks that you have to be ripped, shirt off. That's what you need to look like if you're going to do HYROX. And the people who haven't done it, I always say to them, no, you get everyone.
Yes.
Like the amount of 70, 80-year-olds there, the amount of people who are a bit bigger, who, trotting, they're not speeding around the track because they're giving it their all and they're doing it for a sense of accomplishment. So it's not this exclusionary sport, like anyone can do it.
Totally. And I part of me wishes that they would ban people taking their tops off. It's almost become a bit of a show. I mean, maybe I don't feel like that anymore. Like, let people. I mean, it's nice to look at, but I think it does create a perception of what HYROX is about wrongly sometimes, and I think there's a bit more to be done there. But it is for everybody, and I think that's what I found when I raced with Guillaume in Cardiff. It was probably the most confident I had felt. It was the slowest. It was obviously like my first doubles, but it was one of my slower races, and I felt not the fittest, but I did feel the most confident. And we had super colourful outfits, and everyone was cheering us as we went on. And it was
I think I
such
saw
a
the
nice
photos
feeling.
actually.
Yeah, and we had a HYROX video made. I don't know how that happened. I mean, but that was quite nice as well. So, tell me about your podcast briefly. How long have you been doing it? A bit about it.
So we're coming up to 2 years.
Wow.
And it came from, I knew I wanted to do something. So for years, I've been delivering sort of corporate talks on behalf of the organizations I've worked for. So it'll be me speaking, panel event or on an external networking thing or something like that. I've always done it for someone else. And I was like, right, I want to do this for myself, but I don't want to do it on my own because I'll get sick of my own voice.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than having to edit yourself, as you'll know.
Oh, yes.
Listening to the same bit loop on loop to try and get that bit out. So I approached my friend Femi. We knew each other. We'd worked for the same company, but never with each other. But we'd worked alongside each other because she was involved in the ethnic minority network. And I was one of the leads in the LGBT network. And we'd collaborate on stuff. We would constantly catch up and talk about how we'd right all the wrongs in the world. And I said, what do you think about this? And the idea was that we're kind of on opposite ends of the scale in terms of I'm a man, she's a woman, I'm white, she's black, I'm gay, she's straight. So we sit on opposite ends of the spectrum on a lot of things, but have a lot of similarities in the experiences we've had in the corporate world. So the podcast mainly is about navigating the corporate world as a minority and some of the things that we face and top tips. just open discussions. We talked about mental health. We've talked about making friends in your 30s and how, as you mature and evolve, a lot of those friendships you have had may fall away. And it's about creating new connections based on things that you're passionate about versus proximity.
Yes.
So lots of stuff like that. And we try and keep it very conversational. I think a lot of stuff, when you talk anything about inclusion, diversity, corporate life, it's all done very buttoned up and very academic and very corporate. I get told off for swearing on there, and that's why I say I have to listen to myself on loop and like edit out when I swear. But we try and keep it very, as you were talking to a mate down a pub, that's how it should sound.
Totally. No, I love that. Tell us the name of it again. You mentioned it earlier.
It's called Switching the Code. So
Switching the Code.
anyone who has been in the D&I space knows that we talk a lot about code switching. So that's where it comes from.
Nice. I love that. What about the future then? So you're still doing your part-time transformation, inclusion, consulting, which is amazing. You're doing your fitness. What do you want the future to look like? Have you got any big goals or?
So in terms of goals, I set myself a few this year, and I'm happy to say I've only got one left. So I told myself I wanted to see two new countries this year, which I ended up going to Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia earlier this year, which was amazing. I said I wanted to get my level 3 qualification personal training, which I finished the assessment last week. I said I wanted to learn to drive because I was the stereotypical gay who could not drive. I've been a passenger princess all of my life.
Amazing.
So I can now drive.
Yes, well done.
However, every time I offer to like get myself insured on a friend's car and drive us somewhere, they're like, I'd rather you didn't. Like, okay, you can't say I didn't offer.
Exactly.
But the last one is kind of just stabilize my income because, as you'll know, being a self-employed contractor and working in the fitness space, steady income isn't really a thing for a while. So that's the last goal of the year. But what the future looks like, I would love to expand my speaking engagements. I would love to see the podcast listenership increase.
Yeah.
I would love to move into a coach thing. As I say, I do group fitness at a chain gym at the minute. It's not really the focus of the gym. I would love to move into a space where it is the focus.
Yeah.
And build up my own small group PT and one-to-one coaching as well.
I love that. I love that. Working with any particular groups, or are you open to everyone?
So open to everyone, but I really want people who feel like gyms and fitness spaces aren't for them.
Yeah.
Because I think there's nothing better than seeing their confidence build and achieve things that they didn't think they could achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think there are so many people out there that are looking for a community in the fitness space, but don't know where to start. I'm certainly one of them. Like I'm a member of a third space. It's fine. We go to classes. I was teaching classes for a long time. I'll go back to doing that. But it's just not exciting me right now. Like there's something that I'm missing in my own training. So like Guillaume says, come along to this run, and I'll do the Gymshark run, hopefully at some point. I'm based in London, so I'm kind of like you say, there's a lot going on. There's almost too much going on. That's the thing. So it's like, where's the right thing? So yeah, I hope you find that your one-to-one and group fitness. I'm sure you will. Just keep it going. Like you clearly have got the energy for it.
And that's the thing as well, right? With space, I've always encouraged people, if you're not finding the space in what other people are doing, create it for yourself.
Totally.
Because you're not going to be the only one who's struggling to find this. I've tried like multiple different like groups and running clubs and all of that kind of stuff. And they've been great for a time. And then I've realized actually this isn't what I was looking for. There's still something missing for me. So then go away and create it yourself.
Yeah, that's true. We talk a little bit about coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you drinking something. Do you like coffee? Or not really?
Like,
you can
addicted,
be honest.
Need it to function.
What's your go-to coffee order?
oat milk latte with pistachio and salted caramel syrup from Cafe Nero.
So specific. I love it.
Same drink every time, and
Is it
depending on the
really?
weather, it's either iced or it's hot.
Love that. I love that. And you said oat milk.
Oat milk.
Yeah. So many people love oat milk. That's what I found doing this podcast. And I personally don't.
Really?
I just can't get on board with it. I just like the regular milk. I know.
No, I like, again, feeding us up when we were kids. Like, we always used to have whole milk in the house, and like you'd have like a glass of milk with breakfast. You'd have one like with dinner.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to drink like so much of the stuff. And when I started to like try and be a bit more healthy, I was like, oh my God, there's how much fat and how much calories in this milk.
I know, right? It feels like cream when I drink whole milk. It feels so thick.
Yeah,
This is crazy.
that's the thing. I remember like switching from whole milk to like 1%. And then I was like, actually, when all of the alternatives came out, I was like, let's
Yeah.
just cut it out
Exactly.
completely.
Exactly. And you say Cafe Nero, is that your kind of go-to place?
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm a sweet coffee person. Like, this
Yeah.
is an iced coffee with Dubai pistachio chocolate bar syrup, which sounds
Isn't that
very, very
tasty?
fancy.
It does.
It's actually an Aldi middle aisle discovery.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I think I had my first Dubai chocolate was from Lidl, I'm sure. I'm sure
They're
they
great
did it.
for those wild foods.
Exactly. Dubai chocolate, though, isn't that taking off? Like, I see it everywhere.
I could talk so much about trying something like Labubus and things like that, and I'm just like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I read a whole article about how Labubus are actually a sign of the economic recession that we're in, and people clinging on to youth and using this as a bit of an escapism. And I went down like a whole psychology like paper route on
Really?
it. Yeah,
I love that. I mean, that's so fascinating. I've seen them. I just find them very strange looking. So I don't want one.
it's yeah. I was talking to one of my friends about it the other day, and I was saying this is when I say you can buy all the latest designer gear, but you can't buy style. And if you're putting a Labubu on your Birkin or on your Louis Vuitton bag, I question your taste levels.
Yes, I'm with you 100%. So sticking to coffee, if you could have coffee with anyone, have you got anyone in mind? Who would it be? Why?
I think I would love to have coffee with my granddad. He passed away when I was quite young, and I was his favourite grandchild. And I can say that because all of the others already knew it. So it's not a surprise to them. We were at a family funeral last year, and I was having it ripped out of me just like how much my granddad used to talk about me.
Really?
And bear in mind, like, he passed away when I was 6. I'm like 34 now, so not that they're better about it.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a conversation with him, like, for him to see me as an adult and whether, he would be proud of the person I am, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a special answer. Like we've had Grandad before. A lot of people go down the celeb route, but I think it's there's something more special. I think, particularly that when he didn't get to see you, I suppose, as an adult, and how he would feel about you now, and just to see your achievements, I'm sure he'd be very proud.
That's
I
the
love
thing.
that.
Old Irish man, very
Right.
strong Dublin man.
Really?
It'd be interesting to see. I
Yeah.
think he would
So
be
I'm really
nice.
interested. So your name is very Irish, right?
Yes.
But there's no
Um,
accent.
No, so I was born and raised in Birmingham.
I see.
But my granddad is from Dublin, moved here, and then had my dad here.
Yeah.
So I'm passport carrying, full Irish citizen.
Lucky you.
I think I'd rather have that accent than the Birmingham one, although my Birmingham accent isn't that strong, thankfully. No offense
Yeah.
to any Brummers listening, but like, come on.
It's not as strong as I was expecting. So going back to you, is there a life lesson, bit of advice that you would like to share? Like something that you've carried with you?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned is to just be myself. I think I definitely have put on fronts in different stages of my life in terms of what I thought I needed to be. Whether that's being tougher than I actually am because of the situations I found myself in at school, or going into the sort of corporate world and adopting the behaviors of these middle-aged men who, work is work and all of this stuff. The moment I started to be my authentic self is the moment that my career really started to take off. And what I've learned through a lot of difficult situations and, relationships ending, friendships ending, is that I'd rather be my authentic self and happy with who I am than be something kind of not and be surrounded by people who only appreciate me for an act.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's such a special bit of advice. Thank you. Final sort of serious question, kind of serious, and then we get onto the quick fire. When do you feel most like yourself?
I don't know when I feel the most me version of me, but there are moments when I'm very at peace.
Yeah.
One of them is headphones in, running,
Nice.
or working out and just being in my own space. It's my time to decompress. But in a gym space as well, I love, I'll rock up and my short shorts, my vest. I used to have pink headphones. These ones are green. Unfortunately, I lost the pink ones. And I'll just be dancing in between sets, or on my run, I'll be singing along to whatever's on my headphones. And it feels very freeing.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows me on social media will be probably sick of the amount of stories I post on my treadmill at home, because I'm normally belting out Whitney Houston whilst I'm running along on my treadmill. So that's when I'm I feel the most at peace, and also when I'm traveling.
All right, it's time for the quick fire round.
Let's go.
Let's do it. First thing you do in the morning.
Okay. So I should say, write in my gratitude journal and set my daily intentions, but that is normally the second thing I do, because I normally turn my alarm off on my phone and then my fingers somehow find their way to Instagram.
Of course. We need to know what's going on. If you packed a bag right now, where are you going?
Bali.
Bali, have you been?
I was there for my birthday this year.
Nice. Did you like
Met
it?
some incredible people, came back with a couple of new tattoos, had the best time. I don't think I was sober for a moment out there.
I love it. I love it. We went, when did we go? November, December time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Where did you go?
Oh my God. What's the main area?
So you've Canggu, you've got Uluwatu, Ubud,
Yes. Ubud.
Seminyak.
We went to Seminyak. We stayed in Seminyak. We stayed at Potato Head.
Nice, very nice.
Yes, it was nice. But we got a really good deal. I booked it super far in advance. That's because people always say that. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't.
But this is the thing, right? This is such a British thing. Why do we feel the need to justify anything that we spend money on as well?
I know.
Because it's if you said oh, I like this, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's boohoo. It's nothing, it's crap. I'll throw it away after this interview.
Why? Do you know what? Yeah, you're so right. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the next question. One thing that always lifts your mood.
Britney Spears.
Love it. What's one habit you swear by?
Coffee.
Nice. A pleasure you'll never give up. Favorite way to spend your day off?
It depends on the weather. I like to go for a walk and sit somewhere and just read my book. If it's crap weather, blanket on the sofa, Netflix, candles.
Love it. I can't wait. This time of year coming up, we're just about to enter September. By the time this podcast is out, it'll probably be early October, because I'm pre-recording loads. So we're just going to be in that time where blankets are starting to come out, coats are going on. I can't wait.
Also, can we just agree, fall and winter fashion way better than spring and summer?
Yes. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Coats, layering,
scarves.
Everything's just better.
Yeah, completely agree. Favorite place you visited and why?
I'm going to say Bali, because I did have a really good time and it's just the most recent trip I've taken, but there are a few places that are really special to me. One of them is Toronto. The first time I ever visited was I went there and came out to one of my friends out there. And he was the first person that I told. And it's just a great city. It's such a cool place. Everyone's really nice, really friendly.
We're planning to move there in 2 years.
I have been saying that I want to move there for years. It's just more challenging than
it's not easy.
Like it to be.
Yeah, and we're both 34, aren't we? So it's getting slightly harder when we get to 35, I think, in terms of visa. So there's limited routes, but luckily he's a bit younger.
If you can get an Irish passport,
I know.
Apparently they favour the Irish than the British.
I can't. But yeah, this is the plan. I think surrogacy, and that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, that's our kind of plan is Canada. And I agree, Toronto is a special place. So I'm glad you said that.
And then I've got it on my sort of life goals that I really want to own a chalet in the French Alps.
Very nice.
Nothing, huge. Literally one of those ones where you've got bunk beds and a little lounge area and a balcony. That's all I need. Because I went to uni in the French Alps, I absolutely love it out there.
Yeah.
And I've just got a vivid image of me waking up, coffee, snow-capped mountains. Like that used to be my morning, and now I've got a view of construction. And something isn't sitting right in my spirit with that.
I can just picture it now. I wish you all the best with that goal. I hope you get it.
Thank you so much.
If you could time travel, would you go forwards or backwards?
I don't think I want to go forwards because I don't want to know what's coming, especially at the minute. Like I go forwards and there's just nothing left. I think I'd go backwards. I've always said I think I'd make a great Tudor royal.
Okay.
I genuinely I think I'd make a great medieval or Tudor royal person and beheading people. Wonderful.
Perfect.
But no, go back and stop a few things happening.
Perfect. Love that. Finally, small amount of joy you've experienced recently.
Small amount of joy. People telling me they love my classes.
Yeah. Such a special feeling.
Especially as someone who's new into the industry, little bits of feedback like that, like, oh my God, I love today's playlist, or oh, I've been waiting for a class like this to come back. And it gives you such a boost because you're like, the playlist was mine. I made that. I made the workout we're doing up. It's coming from me. So it's like,
good for you. I love that. Yeah. Stick with it. I like that. Keep getting those compliments. Yeah, I'm so pleased. Darrian, thank you for joining us on ChatterBeans. Where can people connect with you and see your dreams play out and what you do next and you running on your treadmill at home?
So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram's the Biting Brummy, the _biting_brummy. And that's like my food, travel, podcast, fitness, all in one. You can also find Switching the Code, which is my podcast, on Spotify. So once you have finished subscribing to this one and giving it 5 stars and putting comments on there, go and do the same on my one.
Love it. Love that plug. Thank you so much. It was great chatting. Genuinely, such a good conversation, and we've got so much in common, which is really nice as well. So thank you so much for being here.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, why not hit that 5-star wherever you get your podcasts and hit the subscribe button so you're the first to know when the brand new episodes are released. We've also got more content over on YouTube, TikTok and Instagram at chatter.beans. Until next time, keep chatting, keep sipping, and I'll see you soon.